The history of the Delta Flyer. The Delta Flyer type was a Starfleet shuttlecraft designed and built by the crew of the USS Voyager during the vessel's stay in the Delta Quadrant, from which its name was diverged. 2 vessels of this type were constructed during Voyager's return to Earth from the Delta Quadrant. Crew complement 1 minimum, 4 to 6 maximum. The shuttlecraft was warp capable, and armaments included 8 phaser arrays, photonic missiles, photonic torpedoes, and a pulse-phased weapon system. Defenses include immersion shielding, unimatrix shielding, multi-adaptive shielding, parametallic hull plating, and a duranium-reinforced hull. History. Although Lieutenant Tom Paris had been petitioning his superiors on Voyager for some time to allow him to construct the first incarnation of the Delta Flyer, he had been overruled many times due to the vessel's lack of necessary resources to construct a new vessel from scratch. When the crew realized that the Class 2 shuttles were becoming inadequate in the increasingly hostile Delta Quadrant, it took the near loss of a multispatial probe to finally convince Captain Catherine Janeway and Commander Chakotay to construct the vessel. Tom already had a shuttlecraft design simulation ready. The vessel blended both Starfleet and Borg technologies and was designed in collaboration between Tom Paris, Lieutenant B'Elanna Torres, Lieutenant Commander Tuvok, Ensign Harry Kim, and 7 of 9. It featured an ultra-aerodynamic Terraburnium alloy hull, extendable warp nacelles, parametallic hull plating, unimatrix shielding, and a Borg-inspired weapon system, including photonic missiles, most of which were Paris's conception. For aesthetic reasons, Paris designed the flight controls to resemble those of a 20th century aircraft. But to Paris's disappointment, the addition of the dynametric tail fins were denied by Tuvok. The success of the first Delta Flyer gave the crew adequate reason to construct a second vessel in 2377, after the first was destroyed during a Borg engagement. Propulsion systems. Both versions of the Delta Flyer featured retractable warp nacelles, while the first version only featured a standard impulse drive. The second version employed retractable impulse thrusters that greatly increased the vessel's impulse speeds when deployed. Additionally, the Delta Flyer's propulsion systems and hull integrity allowed the vessel to operate underwater. Tactical systems. Both versions of the Delta Flyer featured phasers and photon torpedoes. Additionally, the first version was designed with a Borg-inspired weapon system created by 7 of 9, which included photonic missiles. The second version of the vessel featured a pulse-phased weapon system. Torpedo launchers were located both fore and aft, with the first version featuring 2 photon torpedo launchers on either side of the vessel facing forward, and the second vessel with a single launcher on the ventricle surface. The Delta Flyer 2 was upgraded to include pulse-phased weapons and a duranium-enforced hull. Interior design. The cockpit of the Delta Flyer vessels featured workstations for tactical operations and engineering personnel. The helm was located in the front of the cockpit, while the tactical, ops, and engineering stations featured standard Federation Lycars interface. The helm, combined with its physical buttons, knobs, and levers, gave the pilot more control over the vessel. The second vessel was expanded upon this concept by replacing the Lycars display on the helm with 2 manual steering columns. The Flyer's large size permitted comforts not standard to Federation shuttlecrafts. This vessel featured a large aft compartment that featured retractable biobeds for medical situations. Despite the inclusion of the Delta Flyer's medical accommodations, were limited to primary intent to stabilize a patient until he or she could get back to Voyager for treatment. Workstations were featured on either side of the bed, and replicators were located at various points inside the craft. Delta Flyer type vessels were capable of accommodating up to 5 people comfortably. Thank you for watching the history of the Delta Flyer. Don't forget to like, comment, and please share. Have a great day.